My stepdad promised me he'd match what I saved for college. I worked 2 jobs, skipped spring break, and ate noodles for a year. The day before my tuition was due, he said, "I gave it to your brother. He's struggling." His son had just flunked out of community college after a DUI. I was furious. He said, "You're smart, you'll figure it out. He needs structure." I deferred enrollment. 6 months later, I saw a photo of them jet skiing in Cancun. The caption read, "Father-son trip to Reconnect." I haven't spoken to either of them since. I haven't told anyone this story all the way through. Not even my mom. Not my best friend. But I need to get it off my chest. If I don't, I feel like it'll rot me from the inside. For years ago, I lived with my mom and my stepdad Rick in Akron, Ohio. Life wasn't fancy. It wasn't even comfortable most of the time. My mom worked 2 jobs, waitressing and cleaning offices, and Rick worked construction. He made more than her, but spent more too. Always buying new tools, gear, sometimes beer. Rick came into my life when I was 13. At first, he tried. Took me to a Browns game. Bought me a bike for Christmas. That kind of thing. But after a few months, the shine wore off. He had a son, Tyler, who lived with his mom but came over every other weekend. Tyler was a mess. Older than me by a year. Lazy. Always lying. Always high. He once stole $40 from my mom's purse and denied it even though we all knew. Anyway, my dream since I was a kid was to go to college. I didn't know where or for what at first. I just knew I wanted out of Akron. I wanted something more than paychecks that barely covered rent. In high school, I worked like hell. I got into AP classes, did odd jobs for neighbors, eventually landed a part-time job at a diner when I turned 16. I worked after school, on weekends, even over winter break. I walked to work in the snow to save on gas money. Some nights I didn't eat dinner, just filled up on coffee at the diner and went to bed. I saved every single dollar I could. Every tip. Every paycheck. I had an envelope system. Rent. Food. College. I remember one night, Rick saw me counting my tips at the kitchen table. I had a little notebook and was logging everything. He looked over my shoulder and said, "Saving for school?" I nodded. "Yeah. Trying to hit $8,000 by next summer." He grinned and said, "You hit it. I'll match it. I mean it. You save 8, I'll put in 8. I want you to do better than us." I remember the exact words because they meant so much to me. I held on to them like a lifeline, like proof I wasn't alone in this. I believed him. I should have known better. The summer before college, I had scraped together $8,237. I had it all saved in a separate account. I even took a financial literacy course online to figure out how to pay tuition on time. I was set. 2 days before my payment was due, I sat down with Rick in the living room. I had a printout of my savings and the bill from Kent State. I showed him everything. He looked uncomfortable. Then he said the words that still make my stomach twist. "I gave it to Tyler." I thought I misheard him. I laughed and said, "What?" "I gave the money to Tyler," he said again, clearer this time. "He's struggling. He needs something to focus on. A goal. He's gonna try again at community college." I figured it'd help keep him out of trouble. I just stared at him. He added, "You're smart. You'll figure it out. He needs this more than you." I think I stopped breathing. My ears rang. I looked at my mom. She looked shocked. She didn't know either. I said, "That was my money." He said, "No, my money. You saved yours." I matched it. It was mine to do what I thought was right. We argued. I yelled. My mom cried. Tyler, of course, wasn't even there. I deferred enrollment that week. Told the college something came up. I felt like a failure. All that work, all that discipline, and it meant nothing. I moved out 3 weeks later. Packed my bags and left. Rick didn't stop me. My mom hugged me, sobbing, saying she'd try to fix it. But I didn't want fixing. I wanted revenge. 6 months later, I was on a lunch break from my warehouse job, sitting in the back by the vending machines, scrolling Instagram. That's when I saw it. Rick and Tyler on jet skis. Smiling. Tanned. Drinks in their hands. The caption read, "Father-son trip to Reconnect. Proud of how far we've come." I stared at that picture for 20 minutes. I couldn't stop looking. That was my tuition. That was my future. And that was the moment I decided they weren't going to get away with it. I didn't tell anyone what I was planning. I just started building a new life and a plan. I enrolled in community college under a payment plan. Took night classes in business and finance. I worked full-time during the day. Took whatever freelance gigs I could. I had zero life outside of grinding. Then I started watching Rick's business. He'd launched a contracting company, Rick's Renovations. Got a couple city contracts and was doing well. Too well. He was posting photos of new trucks, job sites, his office. I knew he wasn't smart enough to run a business clean. I started digging. Found out he was sloppy. Used cash under the table. Didn't report certain income. Paid guys as contractors but made them work like employees. That's illegal. All it would take was the right paperwork and a nudge in the wrong place. But I didn't want to just destroy his business. I wanted to ruin his name, his legacy, his trust. So I created a fake resume and applied for a job with his company. I used a different name, Drew McCulley. My cousin in Illinois let me use his address and created a burner email. I bleached my hair, grew a beard, and spoke a little slower, deeper. Rick barely looked at me when I walked in. Hired me on the spot as an office assistant. From there, it got easy. He let me handle receipts, track mileage, book hours. I started duplicating invoices and routing small vendor payments to a dummy account. $1,200 here, $2,500 there. Over 14 months, I drained him bit by bit. Then I filed 2 reports with the IRS. Anonymous. Included fake, concerned employee letters. I knew what to write to get attention. I started whispering rumors to vendors. Told them Rick was paying others first. That he was stiffing suppliers. That he was under investigation. He started losing bids. Workers got nervous and quit. The stress got to him. He started drinking more, showing up late, yelling at everyone. I wasn't done yet. His beloved Silverado? The one he detailed every weekend? I got a spare key from my mom's old drawer. One night, I drove over, poured bleach into the gas tank, and shoved raw shrimp in the AC vents. He never figured out who did it. I was there when the IRS audit letter came in. He opened it in front of me. His face went pale. He actually clutched his chest. Like a bad soap opera. I just said, "You okay, boss?" He nodded, too scared to speak. Eventually, the contracts dried up. The penalties hit. He had to sell his trucks. Then the house. My mom finally left him. Said she couldn't take it anymore. Tyler? He moved to Florida, crashed with a friend. Got another DUI. Rick now lives alone in a crummy apartment above a vape shop. Drives a rusted-out Ford Taurus. Works part-time at a supply store. And he has no idea who did it. But I know. And that's all that matters. I should have felt peace when Rick lost everything. But it didn't come. I kept waiting for that weight in my chest to lift. It didn't. Maybe because I hadn't told anyone. Maybe because I still had one more person I hadn't dealt with. Tyler. He'd become a ghost, but not in the way I wanted. Every few weeks, I'd hear something about him from people back home. He was in Florida, couch surfing. Then he was working at a car rental place. Then he got fired. Then someone said he joined a gym and tried to become a personal trainer. Always chasing something he didn't earn. I kept thinking he still doesn't get it. He still thinks the world owes him. One night, I was at a bar in downtown Cleveland with some coworkers. We were celebrating a big project I helped land. I was finally making real money. Had my own apartment. Life was stable. Then I saw a familiar face in the corner booth. Tyler. Drunk. Loud. Laughing at something on his phone with 2 women who looked half interested and half bored. He had the same smug face I remembered from when we were teens. He hadn't grown up. Just gotten older. I stared for a long time. I wanted to walk over and punch him in the mouth. Instead, I asked the bartender, "That guy come in here often?" She looked over. Tyler? Yeah. Every couple weeks. Tries to act like he owns the place, but he tips like crap. That gave me an idea. Over the next month, I started showing up at the bar on nights he usually came. I never spoke to him. Just watched. Then I started dropping hints with the bartender. "You know that guy stiffed my buddy on a rental car? Trashed it too. Oh, I heard he got busted for fake painkillers once." Small lies. But not hard to believe. And the thing is, people want to believe bad things about people who act entitled. It doesn't take much. Soon enough, Tyler noticed me. One night, I was in line at the restroom when he bumped into me. Literally bumped shoulders. He turned and looked at me, confused. "Do I know you?" I looked him dead in the eye and said, "You knew me once." He narrowed his eyes. What's that supposed to mean? But I just walked off. Let it simmer. A week later, I sent an anonymous email to his new gym employer. He was trying to become a personal trainer. I included screenshots I faked of him messaging women inappropriate stuff. Said I was a concerned former classmate. It worked. He got dropped from the gym a week later. Then I did something petty. Maybe too far. I called a towing company and had his car booted outside the bar one night. I knew it was him. I'd seen the same rusted Nissan Altima parked there every time. He came out yelling, red-faced, drunk, threatening to sue. No one cared. Everyone just stared at him like he was some angry clown. He still didn't know it was me. That's what made it better. But here's where it turned. One night, I was heading to my car after work. Late. Parking lot was mostly empty. As I unlocked my door, I felt someone behind me. I turned and Tyler was standing there. He looked bad. Greasy. Hollow. His eyes were bloodshot. He had a cigarette in one hand and something shiny in the other, keys, maybe a small blade. My stomach dropped. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I remember now, he said. You're the little nerd from Akron. Rick's stepson. The one who cried when he gave me your college money. I didn't say anything. He stepped closer. You been messing with me? I shrugged. You messed with me first. I just returned the favor. He laughed short and mean. You think this is funny? No, I said. I think it's fair. We stood there for a long moment. Cars passed by on the street. No one stopped. No one saw us. Then he said, Rick's in the hospital. I blinked. What? Heart attack. Last week. I guess all that stress you dumped on him finally caught up. Something twisted in my gut. But I didn't show it. He leaned in, voice lower. You got what you wanted. You broke him. So what now? You gonna break me too? I looked him dead in the eye. No. I'm gonna let you keep living your miserable life. That's worse. He didn't like that. But he didn't swing. Just flicked his cigarette and walked away. I stood there a long time, heart racing. Later that night, I looked up Rick's name at the hospital. It was true. He was admitted. Stable but in bad shape. I sat on that information for days. Didn't tell my mom. Didn't reach out. But it gnawed at me. Not guilt. Something else. A question I couldn't shake. Was I done? I didn't know the answer. But I was starting to think the revenge I wanted wasn't just about money anymore. It was about something deeper. I'd torn Rick's life apart. I'd humiliated Tyler. But they still existed. They still took up space in the world. And I wasn't sure I could stand it. 2 weeks passed after that parking lot run-in with Tyler. I kept checking Rick's hospital status online. Still alive. Still in recovery. My mom didn't know. I hadn't spoken to her in a while, not since she left him. She tried to call a few times, but I never picked up. I didn't know what to say to her. Part of me still blamed her for being with him in the first place. One night I got home from work and found an envelope taped to my door. No name, just taped there like some cheap mob movie. Inside was a folded note and a photo. The photo was of me at the bar. Not recent. A few months back. I was sitting with coworkers, laughing. Someone had taken it from across the room. Probably a phone camera, low quality. The note read, You want to play games? Don't forget who knows your real name. I sat down hard. My hands were shaking. I hadn't been that rattled in years. Tyler knew. Somehow he figured it out. But that wasn't what scared me. What scared me was that he didn't come to fight. He didn't call me out publicly. He left a message. Which meant he wanted something. Or maybe he wanted me scared. Either way, I wasn't going to wait around. I packed a bag that night and stayed at a friend's place across town. The next day, I pulled security footage from the apartment complex. Sure enough, there he was, Tyler. Wearing a hoodie, pacing around the door like a stray dog before taping the envelope. That same day, I filed a police report. Told them someone was stalking me. They didn't take it seriously. Said I needed proof of intent or threat of violence. I asked about getting a restraining order. They told me I'd have to show a pattern. So I made one. I started documenting everything. Every time I saw him, every weird message or call from unknown numbers, I logged it. Then things escalated. Someone keyed my car in the work parking lot. Deep scratches all down the driver's side. No cameras. No witnesses. A week later, my boss pulled me into his office. You okay? He asked. Yeah, why? Some guy came in asking about you. Said he was your brother. Wanted to surprise you. Reception didn't give him anything, but she said he was weird. Twitchy. Kept asking what car you drove. I knew it was Tyler. The next morning, I found a dead rat in my mailbox. That was the line. I got a lawyer. Filed for a protective order. This time I had photos, incident reports, a list of times he'd approached or tried to contact me. It went through. Tyler got served 2 days later. My friend who worked in city records texted me. He flipped out in the clerk's office. Threw a pen at the wall. Good. But it didn't end there. A few nights later, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. No words. Just a photo. It was my mom. She was walking out of a grocery store. Alone. Carrying a single bag. Nothing unusual, except for the fact that it was night and someone had taken the picture from across the parking lot. I called her immediately. She was fine. Had no idea what I was talking about. Said she hadn't seen Tyler in months. He was watching her. I knew what he was doing. He couldn't touch me legally now, so he was trying to get in my head. Through her. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I drove to her apartment. First time I'd been there in over a year. She answered the door in sweatpants, surprised to see me. I need to talk to you about Tyler, I said. She let me in. We sat down at the kitchen table, same as we used to. Same smell of old carpet and coffee. I don't know where he is, she said. Last time we spoke, he asked me for money. I said no. That was months ago. I showed her the photo of her outside the grocery store. Her face went pale. Did you take this? She asked. No. He did. Her hands started shaking. She looked down at her lap. He used to scare me, she said quietly. I never told you. But when you were still living with us, after Rick gave him that money, Tyler got worse. Meaner. He broke things. Screamed at me once because I told him to clean up after himself. I told Rick. He told me I was being dramatic. That hit me like a truck. She never told me any of that. We sat in silence for a while. Then she said, you were right to leave. I should have protected you. I didn't say anything. I just nodded. Before I left, I gave her a security camera kit. One of those doorbell ones, plus a sensor for the back window. I showed her how to use it. I told her not to open the door for anyone. Not even me unless I texted first. I left feeling sick. I thought I'd burned Rick's world to the ground. I thought Tyler was a joke. But now it felt like I was dealing with something darker. Unhinged. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about control. And I wasn't about to let him take anything else from me or her. I didn't want to go to the cops again. I'd been down that road. I knew how it ended. Nothing happened until it was too late. And I wasn't about to sit around waiting for Tyler to do something worse. Watching my mom's life from a distance wasn't going to cut it anymore. So I decided to end it. Once and for all. I still had access to Tyler's old Instagram through a dummy account I made back when I was tracking him. He'd made it private, but I was already on the follow list. He didn't post much anymore, but he still tagged locations now and then. A dive bar here. A gym there. He was still drifting. Still pretending he had it all together. He didn't know I'd been following his trail for weeks. I found him one night outside a place called the Blue Stallion. Cheap beer, sticky floors, full of old men and broke dreamers. He was alone, sitting at the bar, flipping through his phone. I waited until he went out back for a smoke. The alley was dark, empty. Just a few flickering lights over the door. He looked up when he heard me. You, he said. The hell do you want now? I didn't speak right away. I just stood there, calm. I saw what you did, I said finally. To her. To my mom. He scoffed. I didn't touch her. I just let her know I was still around. She doesn't get to forget me. Neither do I said. I never forgot. He stepped forward, arms out. What? You want to fight me now? Is that what this is? No, I said. I want you gone. He laughed loud and mean. You think you scared me with that restraining order? You think any of this matters? You're just some bitter little bastard who couldn't handle life not going your way. That's when I punched him. Right in the mouth. It wasn't clean. It hurt my hand. But it was worth it. He staggered back, hit the wall, slid down. Blood on his lips, eyes wild. You're gonna regret that, he hissed. No, I said. You are. I pulled my phone out and hit send. 10 seconds later, 2 cops pulled up at the end of the alley. See, while I'd been tracking Tyler, I'd also been feeding info to a friend of mine who worked cyber forensics. We found some stuff. Stuff that wasn't just about me or my mom. We found proof Tyler had been scamming older women online. Fake names. Fake photos. He took money. One of them had filed a complaint last year. No follow-up. Until now. I gave them everything. Names. Messages. Photos. Bank transfers. Tyler was on probation already. One more charge, especially fraud involving money, meant real time. The cops grabbed him right off the pavement. He screamed, of course. Threatened me. Called me every name in the book. They didn't care. That was the last time I saw him in person. He's in Mansfield Correctional now. Serving 6 years. He'll be out in 3 if he behaves. But Tyler never behaves. As for Rick, he didn't die. He recovered. Moved into a nursing home outside Columbus. Hasn't worked since. I found out he tried to apply for disability. Got denied. My mom visits sometimes. Says he just stares at the TV now. Doesn't talk much. He still doesn't know it was me who destroyed his business. I thought about telling him. Writing him a letter. Visiting just to watch his face fall. But I don't need to. He's already living in the wreckage I left behind. I kept my silence for years. That was my biggest mistake. Thinking if I worked hard enough, stayed quiet, followed the rules, I get what I earned. That's not how life works. Sometimes you have to take it back yourself. And sometimes the only way to fix what someone broke inside you is to break them in return. I'm not proud of everything I did, but I'd do it all again.